You cannot blame the men when they try to frame rules, thinking that this might serve the majority of the people, but it actually does not serve everybody's requirements. And then we cannot criticize saying that the country is not doing something for us, we are being downsided, we don't have equal playing field. It becomes very difficult in such cases. Why am I trying to bring this to your notice is recently there have been 2 acts that have been enacted which actually affects all women like us. Can anybody name any of those 2 acts? Not triple talaq just happened about a week back, and I don't think it really affects too many of us, but no, one was the Prevention of Sexual Harassment at the Workplace, the POSH. This has come out in the last 5 years, but it took almost 17 years to become an act. Why do you think that it took so much time? Because I don't think there were actually women out there standing and pushing for it to happen. So that is where our voice needs to be heard. And in corporate circles, I know for a fact when POSH was introduced in 2013, and we brought it to the notice of corporate, and we tried to create workshops, many of the men in the corporates felt that this was just deterring them from hiring more women at the workplace. And if something like that deters more women in the workplace, how do you find opportunities for all those millions and millions of young girls who are getting themselves educated? Yes? So that's something to think about. The other amendment to the Maternity Bill Act has also come about, I think, a couple of years ago. And while entire India is happy that, yes, from 14 weeks of maternity paid holiday, we get to now enjoy 26 weeks of a paid maternity holiday, is a woman really happy about it? Yes, you had to leave your baby at the 3 months of age, but now you get to leave the baby at 6 months of age. But who determines whether the baby can be left home at 6 months of age, when you start actually bonding with the baby at that point of time, when you actually want to nurture the baby at that point of time? So why aren't the policy makers looking at countries like the Scandinavian countries, where actually they provide 2 to 3 years of maternity paid leave? So we cannot just be happy just because they handed down us a few crumbs and then we have to be happy with it. But in retrospect, this act also had a lot of antagonism from industry. Because if you look at the small and medium industry, for them immediately it means addition to their expenditure. They cannot afford it. But what they fail to realize is that in the short term, while you might be having a little bit more expenditure on your P&L statement, in the long term, you are able to attract that lady back to your office, to be enabled to stay with you and continue her career, and she will prove to be the most loyal person among your employees. So these are a lot of issues that actually affect us, and why I'm trying to tell you this is because I've been in industry for the last close to 30 years now. When I studied in college, I went to an all-girls school, I went to an all-girls college, and today, sadly, I see very few of my peers in industry. Most of them have fantastically studied, did extremely well, yet they chose to stay at home and to stay out of the workplace. Where is that leading to? Today, is the situation any better than it was when I joined the industry? Sadly, no. Still there is so much of discrimination. Still there are so many issues that we have to deal with to plow our way through our career graph. And these are the issues why women leadership is extremely important. It is necessary for you to have role models. It is necessary for you to have somebody that you look up to so that you can actually sustain in your career and ensure that you go up to the topmost level, wherever and whichever field you are, and try then to start helping the communities around you. And that's when you will be known as a true leader. A couple of years ago, I actually went on a delegation to Japan. And this was a delegation of all women entrepreneurs and women professionals. And we were supposed to go and learn about women leadership policies in Japan. All of you know that Japan is considered to be an extremely highly developed nation with fantastic laws for its citizens. But what we were pleasantly surprised is to see the women's status in Japan is actually not as glorified as it is. Yes, Japanese women have a very, very high percentage of getting into the workplace, but they are only relegated to very soft roles. You do not see them in superior roles, you do not see them in management roles. While that actually affects them, it actually affects the policies of the government too. And today, a lot of Japanese women, though they are struggling to maintain a good quality of life, they still are not having the freedom to actually lead organizations. While we here in India, though we don't claim to be good in a lot of the HR policies, we still have pockets of excellence. We have our own financial sector where women have actually broken the glass ceiling. We have a lot of sectors where women have actually reached to the top, but we need many, many, many more there. What I actually learned from that visit to Japan was actually getting in touch with one university professor who was a lady and who spent most of her time out of Japan, but came back on her retirement and joined the University of Tokyo. And she left me with a nice message that I actually felt that I should share with all of you, that would actually help you to become women leaders in your own right and in your own areas. And she actually named them the 6 ups. And she said, try to utilize these 6 leadership ups in your life, whether it is in your professional life or in your personal life, so that will help evolve you as a women leader, and it will help you bring about some change in the community which will actually benefit the next generation. So these ups that I will share with you are, the first one is to show up. And how many women show up at places where they need to be showed up to? I know as a cultural issue, Indian women they feel inhibited, they don't take the initiative to actually go and attend a lot of events or courses or anything that actually they need to invest in time to actually improve themselves. And if anything is necessary that has to be done by them, they would rather that the men do it and then they take the back seat there. So showing up is very critical. And I, for one, feel that it has actually helped me because I've come into a lot of leadership positions, and that is because I used to show up a lot at a lot of events in the Confederation of Indian Industry, which is an industry body which is heavily male-dominated. But I used to attend a lot of programs because I used it as a tool for self-learning. There is only that much that you can learn through a college degree, but there is so much more that you can learn once you actually attend with peer networks. So networking is one area that women are very poor at. And you people should be knowing it, especially from the exhibition and from the event industry. You would probably know that the number of trade fairs that are being organized, the percentage of women is very low. On the flip side, you have an exhibition for jewelry and gems and maybe clothing, you find only the women there. So when they can go and do that, why not go and do something else that are actually helping them improve themselves and their leadership capabilities? So that is one thing, is to show up. And I think that actually helped me, because suddenly when there was a leadership requirement at CII, which is heavily, again, as I said, male dominated, I was chosen for that role, where in respect, actually, many of my male peers were actually fighting tooth and nail to get elected to that post. And it just didn't know, I didn't know, just fell into my lap. And I was very inhibited. But with my seniors who said that they would stand by me, I said, okay, I'll take up that role. So that's how I got into that role, and that has opened up different avenues for me today to be able to add more value to the society.